Rahul sat on the edge of his worn-out cot, staring at the cracked walls of his small one-room house. The faint glow of a single bulb flickered above him, casting shadows that seemed to mirror the weight on his shoulders. His hands, calloused and rough from years of labor, trembled as he counted the meager earnings from his day's work. 300 rupees, whispered his voice breaking. It's just 300 rupees. It wasn't enough. It was never enough. Beside him, his wife Priya lay on the cot, her breathing shallow and uneven. She had been unwell for months, but they couldn't afford proper treatment. Every time she coughed, a harsh, rattling sound, Rahul's heart clenched with guilt and helplessness. In the corner of the room, their 8-year-old daughter Mira slept curled up on a thin mat, her tiny frame barely covered by a tattered blanket. Rahul's eyes lingered on her, and a lump formed in his throat. She deserved so much more, he thought, his chest tightening. A warm bed, good food, a future filled with possibilities. But all I can give her is this. Rahul worked as a daily wage laborer at a construction site. Every morning he woke up before dawn, his body stiff and aching from the previous day's work. He would kiss Myra's forehead gently, whispering, "Papa will be back soon, beta. Be good for Mummy, okay?" Then he would step out into the cold, dark streets, his mind already focused on the day ahead. The work was brutal. Under the scorching sun, he lifted heavy bricks, mixed cement and hauled loads that left his muscles screaming in protest. His hands were raw and blistered, his back bent from the weight of the sacks he carried, but he never complained. Every drop of sweat, every ache in his body was for his family. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, the foreman announced overtime work. "A double pay for those who stay till night," he said. Rahul's heart leapt at the opportunity. Double pay meant he could buy Priya's medicine and maybe even get Mira a new school uniform. Without hesitation, he volunteered. The hours dragged on. The sun blazed mercilessly and Rahul's body screamed for rest. His hands, raw and bleeding, trembled as he lifted another heavy brick. His legs felt like they might give out, but he pushed through, his mind focused on one thing: his family. By evening, his co-workers began to leave one by one. "Rahul, it's enough. Go home," one of them said, patting his shoulder. But Rahul shook his head. "I need the money," he replied, his voice hoarse. "Just a little longer." As night fell, the foreman approached him. "Rahul, you've done enough. Go home," he said, concern in his voice. But Rahul shook his head again. It was past midnight when Rahul finally returned home. His body felt like it had been run over by a truck, but the envelope of cash in his pocket made it all worth it. He tiptoed inside, careful not to wake Mira. Priya was awake, waiting for him. "You're back so late," she said, her voice filled with worry. Rahul handed her the envelope, his hands shaking. "This is for your medicine and Mira's uniform," he said, his voice breaking. Priya's eyes filled with tears. "Rahul, you're killing yourself. You can't keep doing this." "I'll do whatever it takes," he said firmly, his voice trembling with emotion. "For you, for Mira." Months passed and Rahul's sacrifices began to bear fruit. Priya's health improved with the medicine he could now afford. Mira got her new uniform and even started attending extra classes after school. Her teacher had noticed her talent for math and recommended her for a scholarship. One evening, as Rahul returned home, he found Mira waiting for him at the door, her face glowing with excitement. "Oh, Papa, look," she said, holding up a certificate. "I got first prize in the math competition." Rahul's eyes welled up with tears as he hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, beta," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. That night, as the family sat together for dinner, Priya looked at Rahul with a mixture of love and gratitude. "You've given us everything, Rahul. But don't forget to take care of yourself too." Rahul smiled, a rare moment of peace washing over him. "As long as you and Mira are happy, I'm happy. I'm happy," glowing with happiness. "Papa, look," she said, holding up a certificate. "I won first prize in the math competition." Tears welled up in Rahul's eyes as he hugged her tightly. "I'm so proud of you, beta," he whispered, his voice choked with emotion. That night, as the family sat together for dinner, Priya looked at Rahul with love and gratitude. You've given us everything, Rahul. But don't forget to take care of yourself too. Rahul smiled, a rare moment of peace washing over him. As long as you and Mira are happy, I'm happy. In the days that followed, Rahul began to see the fruits of his hard work. Priya's health continued to improve, and Mira's academic performance soared. One day, Mira came home with a letter from her school principal. "Papa, look, I got a scholarship," she exclaimed joyfully. Rahul read the letter and tears filled his eyes again. "I'm so proud of you, beta," he said, his voice filled with joy and pride. Priya looked at Rahul, her eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "We can never forget what you've done for us," she said, her voice filled with love. Rahul smiled and replied, "You two are my life. Your happiness is my happiness." One day, Rahul got a promotion at work. He was now a supervisor, and his income increased significantly. He decided to improve their living conditions. After moving into a new home, Rahul took his wife and daughter to a larger room and said, "This is our new home. Now we'll all live happily." Mira hugged her father and said, "Papa, you're the best father in the world. As long as you two are happy, there's nothing missing in my life," he said, his voice filled with love and contentment.